Hello Bournemouth fans, you join us outside the Vitality Stadium and it's a beautiful day and it's a beautiful face that you might recognise. It's Morgan Scott. How are you, Morgan?
Yeah, all good, thanks, Sam.
And you're in your AFC Bournemouth kit today. That's not just because you want to wear it, but you're playing football over there shortly, aren't you?
Yeah, so on a Tuesday and a Thursday afternoon, through I think it's the Mental Health Forum and the AFC Bournemouth coaches, they put on, the community department put on an hour session where you can just kick a ball around, and it's just a nice opportunity to get out and get some exercise and engage in something positive after a tough year for everyone. So yeah, it's good.
It should be all smiles this afternoon with you playing football, and hopefully it'll be all smiles at the weekend. And can Cherries make it 4 in a row? We got Coventry to play. We beat them 3-1 at their place. Well, I say their place, it was at Birmingham City Stadium, but there's a positive feeling being a Bournemouth fan again, isn't there?
I think I feel a lot more positive going into this game after when I called it horrendous back in November or whenever it was. But I think it's going to be... I just think we need to stick to the basics. 5-yard passes. And what I liked in the last game over the Easter bank holiday weekend is that we were just showing a bit of fight and determination, and I think that just suited Bournemouth a lot better. Anything together is possible, and it showed up. So yeah, it was good.
So our performances haven't been great of late, have they? At home against Middlesbrough, I thought it was all right, but then at Blackburn, really wasn't particularly good. But people always say it's the sign of a good team when you're grinding out results.
I thought the difference in the two games, Sam, as you alluded to, was the fact that I just think against Borough we were more at it from minute one. In the Blackburn game, I was thinking at any time this could, especially the second period, where it just went a bit flat at times, and I think people like David Brooks, not criticising him, but he had a year out and he's been ill, uncovid related, just to clear that up for anyone watching. But I think you could see that, and then we made some changes, and then into the latter stages, I was praying more than anything to keep a clean sheet. And when Adam Smith gave away that penalty, I was thinking, yeah, these goal difference is going to be vital at the end of the season to keep us maybe to the playoffs, if that is what we're going to achieve. And then obviously Big Begovic comes up with this massive save, and then a few minutes later I think it was a goal line clearance between Carter Vickers and Steve Cook. I think it came off Carter Vickers' knee or something onto Steve Cook, and he deflected it from the line. So it was brilliant to come away with a clean sheet, an okay-ish performance, and a 3 points again. So, over the weekend we got now another 6 points, so it's all brilliant.
So with the Sky Blues we're facing then on the weekend, away from home, they're bottom of the league form table. They've won 2, drawn 5, and they've lost 12. And in their last 6 away games, Coventry have drawn 1-1 with Birmingham City. They lost in Wales 3-1 against Cardiff and 1-0 at Swansea. They drew 1-1 with Blackburn Rovers, lost 2-0 against Luton Town, and their last game in London against QPR was a 3-0. So we need to be looking to win this, don't we? And then with Huddersfield on the following Tuesday, what a great chance to get 6 more points, and hopefully with that we should be entering the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%, and I think the game. I think getting back at Dean Court, I think that's good for momentum to kind of. You don't have to think about travel and spending all the time away from your loved ones. So I think that's also beneficial. I think everyone. It's been a busy period. I think Woodgate alluded to that he gave them a couple of days rest. And then their push on this week and then carry on training. So I think that might be the trickier game, if I'm being honest, just because we don't seem to always... I know we're better away this season, I believe. But I just think sometimes the extra Huddersfield's I've done that trip myself, it's quite a long way. And it's on a Tuesday, so they'll be leaving again on the Monday, so there's not much of a turnaround. And I think as a human being, I know they're professional footballers, but you can only do so much too soon. You need the recovery time, you need the sleep, you need the training time. So it's going to be really, really tricky, I think, on the Tuesday, but I do back us to make it 4 wins out of 4.
Oh, I hope so. Well, of course, usually for our previews we'll be doing a face-off format, but when the weather is so nice like this and there's a chance to get down to Dean Court and look at that beautiful stadium, then I thought, you know what, let's get down, chat to Morgan, and yeah, it would really help our playoff ambitions if we were to win at the weekend. And as they've only won twice away all season. Surely this is the time. So AFC Bournemouth's league results at home against Coventry City. They've resulted in 9 wins for us. We've drawn 7 times and we've lost 6 times. So it's certainly looking in our favour, I've got to say. In all competitions, Cherries have won 17, drawn 10 and lost 23. Let's be fair, Coventry have been the bigger club through most of our existence. But team news for AFC Bournemouth, well, Junior Stanislas missed the Blackburn game due to illness, but otherwise, apart from Lewis Cook, we look to have a relatively strong squad that's available. Who's the AFC Bournemouth player to watch tomorrow? And could it be a certain player that everyone was saying was not so good at the start of the season? Phil Bill?
I think it's got to be Phil Billen. And
amazing.
Credit to him in his number 10 role. But as Woodgate alluded to, he can play a number of positions. And that's a credit of Phil Billen. And if we're sat here at the end of the season and we're back in, this is now a Premier League venue again. And for the first time in... well, just over a year ago now, which would be incredible at the first time of asking, considering people like we lost, like Nathan Ake, etc. I think it'd be remarkable. And if we're sat here saying Phil Billen and to the Premier League, well, that's just brilliant. I'm not saying in the summer we wouldn't have to invest if we do progress, or next season, even if we do remain in the Championship, we will have to buy another striker who could create more goals, because you can't, although Dom Solanke's hold-up play good, he's not a natural goal scorer, as everyone has been saying all season. But it's just, I think Phil Billen, I put him in my team that you probably see later on in the show, but I think he has to start. If he, what's that? I think he's got 6 goals this Championship season. 2 on the bounce.
Something like that, yeah. I mean, he's certainly scoring. Since he's played further forward in the last 5 games, Billing has scored in each of his last 3 league games. His total, as you say, is 6. The other player, Arnaud Danjuma, in his last 5 games, he scored 4 goals and assisted 3. So you've got to say, between Billing and Danjuma, they're certainly delivering the goals at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. But then I also got to say well done to his centre midfield partner, Jeff Lerma. He's not one to not try an effort. I think he had a shot the other day, just a bit around the post. Sometimes it's a little bit ambition and almost go out of the stadium and over to maybe hit us on the head. But most of the time, even that goal, it wasn't the best strike in the world, but he still scored. And as a centre midfielder, you need people to help you attack. And if we can get goals of Phil Bill, Jeff Lerma, David Brooks, and then of course Magic Man Arnaud Jr., then it's going to be fantastic. And then if Solanke can just hop in with a few, then well, that's all we need, ain't it?
Yeah, we don't necessarily need that 20 goal a season striker if all the goals are coming from all over the pitch. I know that a number of players, fans have said that how can you get promoted if you don't have that type of striker? But then you're looking at Ivan Toney. Yes, he has scored a hatful for Brentford, but they're dropping like a stone at the moment. And tell you what, the playoffs are looking tasty, because obviously you saw what happened to Norwich in their last match. They smashed Huddersfield 7-0. We've got to play them soon. They're going to be low on confidence, I'm sure, or maybe we'll see a reaction. But Norwich can secure promotion if they win at the weekend and Swansea and Brentford drop points. Wouldn't that be quite handy if their promotion's wrapped up ahead of us playing them, because they may still be hungover and we might be able to get a win at Carrow Road? You never know.
Norwich have had a remarkable season. I just think it's going to be, I would hope that Norwich won't have the attitude, we've gone to the Premier League and we're the champion of the Sky Bet Championship. I would hope that they would have the attitude and be a professional player. But if they don't, whatever. But of course we're going to want the points if we can off them. But football's a tough game. It can be raining. I think I was watching the game last night, and in Munich it was snowing in April. So anything can happen in football, can't it?
No. So yeah, Coventry City then. Let's get a bit of team news from them. They've got a few injuries at the moment, and the recent ones have been defenders Michael Rose, Dom Hyam, and also Dabo as well. All 3 played in AFC Bournemouth's away game, with Rose actually coming on as a 45-minute substitution. But the Coventry player to watch, we've got to say, is Callum O'Hare, attacking midfielder who scored 2 goals and has 6 assists, and a lot of Coventry fans, a lot of Sky Blues fans are bigging him up as well. So there we go. That is what is going to be happening. What's the team though? What's the team? Let's go through it. You can see the graphic on screen at the moment, and Morgan, well, there's only one place to start in goal, and is it even worth asking you who we're going to be putting in goal here?
It's got to be a little guy that I like to call Asmir Begovic.
Yeah, great player. Now, is this going to be a 4-3-2-1 formation again? because that's the sort of formation we have with the three midfielders, two men out wide, and then the solitary striker. If we're going to be doing that, obviously four at the back. Who's your right back?
So it's got to be just over the recent form. I would say Adam Smith. It's a shame because we got a really good at fullback of Jack Stacey. I just think Adam Smith defensively is slightly better at times. Hope he can't hear me. And then going into the other flank, I would say I'll probably give it to Diego Rico. Now I know Rico and Kelly have been a bit tough. People have been saying Kelly has a bad day. Rico, Kelly is a better centre half. But because of Carter Vicker, he's done solidly. We can't take him out and put him there. So Rico against Borough was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Did everything. Kelly against Blackburn, although he didn't make too many errors, I still felt a bit shaky with him. And I think there was an incident in the corner, and I thought, is the lino just going to say, oh, he's just... he just doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence. And then into the centre halves, it's got to be our skipper, Steve Cook. And then going forward with his partner in crime, I would like to say it's got to be no longer than Cameron Carter-Vicker.
Yeah, he's done really well recently. Chucked his body on the line a number of times at Ewood Park, and I think that back four, it doesn't matter whether you interchange Smith with Stacey or Rico with Kelly, it's looking a little bit better and a little bit more well drilled, and maybe that's some of Woodgate's defensive influence coming through. So the midfield three is what I really want to talk about, because I think one of them is always a dead cert. I mean, maybe two of them are at the moment, I've got to say, because one of them pushes forward, and then a certain Colombian is always in there, just adds that steeliness. And you know what, Tom said it with Keith on the player rating show, that sometimes when Lerma plays, he doesn't sort of do much. I mean, yes, he did score recently, but you really notice he's missing when he's not there.
I noticed with Lerma his aggression and his desire. Like, he isn't a tall guy. Like, I'm massive, but he's always climbing over to try and win the header. You know, even when he got sent off a few earlier in the last few months here, and it was never a red card, and it got rescinded. And then even all that nonsense about him biting someone, I think that's all clear. Well,
end of April apparently we're going to hear something. So apparently that's what I saw on Twitter, which is bad. If that's the case,
I've got to say, we're interjecting. But I gotta say that happened last November, October, and we're almost going to be a year on. So I think that's absolutely not insane. I don't want to be disrespectful to the authorities of the AFL, but I'm not sure what's going on there, if I'm honest. But in terms of Lerma, I think you can always notice that he's in the team, and I think he's just fantastic. And then obviously his partner in crime, well, as I alluded to, it's got to be Bill pushed on into the number 10 role.
So, third one, Wilshere or will it be Pearson?
Tricky. Probably the trickiest question I've been asked this week, Sam.
I mean, Pearson's more defensive. Wilshere can tend to push forward. Do you play? Because Wilshere and Billing, I thought, how do they play together? But they've demonstrated actually they can do that with Wilshere being a little bit deeper. So maybe Jack. Maybe it's just a case of alternating players and getting them playing better for the shirt from now until the rest of the season. And then when we go into the playoffs, not if, when, we can then just pick the best side. But do you think it might be Jack who's given the shirt?
Don't know. Pearson's been doing well, but he did look a bit. I think did he come off last game against Blackburn with a little niggly injury again? I think he got kicked a few times. It's tricky. I'm going to give it to Pearson because I think that's what Woodgate will go with. Now, I'm not an expert. I haven't spoken to Woodgate today, so I don't know that. That's from what I'm going on. But we'll have to wait and see what happens on that one.
Okay, and then left flank, right flank, up front. Let's start up front. We won't even talk about it. Dom Solanke, right?
Yeah, of course. It's Dom Solanke, 110%.
Okay, then on the left, I think we've probably got an answer for that already, and that's going to be Dan Juma, right?
Yeah, of course. Magic Man, always there.
So, right flank, and that's where there are options. David Brooks, or will it be Junior Stanislas? And it all depends on Stanislas, how fit he is. But what would you be doing? Because Brooks, to me, yes, he had a part in our opening goal at Ewood Park, but other than that, he didn't actually do much.
No, and I'm not just defending Brooks because he's my favourite Bournemouth player. I'm defending him because he's had a horrible setback with injury, and when he was ready to do. When in the last lockdown he was all back out and running in his match fit, and then when you don't play football it's really hard. I'm still finding my match fitness, and I haven't played football in almost a year, so looking forward to this one. Well, apart from the other day, but I think with Brooksy, I think it's difficult, and he's been he's not well, uncovid related again, but it's tricky when you're not feeling 100%. The travel time, but just one bit of minutes with David Brooks. He can do anything in 30-40 seconds, and that flick onto Adam Smith, yes, it wasn't an assist. I think Willow tried to give him an assist, he flicked it on, and it was a fantastic goal, and it worked in our favour, and that might be a factor of us going back to the Premier League.
So I'm gonna have to push you. Who's playing on that side? Stanislas brings the goals, the set pieces, but then David Brooks can bring the individual moments.
Because Arnie's been put on corners lately. I think if you're being fair, you get Brooks 45 minutes, because Woodgate started to get him against here on Saturday, and Woodgate even admitted himself. You can find it on AFCB TV website. I think you get Brooks 45 minutes. If he puts in a 45-minute performance and he can last to 60, 70, then you do that, and then you bring Junior on to create a bit of mayhem and win it.
Yeah, and if you're going to play Brooks, why not play it against a team that, okay, this sounds awful, but a lowly, a team that's in the lower half, that he might get a bit of confidence, because he's a confidence player at the moment, and I think Brooks is probably the right shout. So there is Morgan Scott's team on screen. What do you think in the comments? We would love to know. Let us know what your chosen team is. Right, Morgan, before we end this, I can't let you go without asking for a prediction. I can't. How's it going to play out?
It's really tricky, because you just sometimes don't know in football whether who's going to turn up, who wants to fight, who might have a cocky attitude towards it. I think we're going to scrape over the line. I don't think it's going to be the best performance, but you have to win ugly. There you go, I just had a notification come through telling me we got a game while we're talking, so and it's for the Coventry game here on Saturday at 3 o'clock. But going back to what I was saying there, I think we just have to do the basics right, get the football down, pass it out, and sometimes don't just leave it up to Solanke. Although he's quite good in the air, he's not a physical guy. He needs to interchange it to Brooks or Danjuma and get them on the pace that. But I just think we have to think about it, and sometimes around the back, Begovic, take your time, there's no rush. You've got 6 seconds, I think, in a game to release the ball. Just think, put your head up, have a quick look, because these are all things come the end of the season that could be factors into if this is a Championship ground or a Premier League ground. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, well, I'm going for a 2-0. Again, I don't think it's going to be amazingly pretty, but I think it's going to be a better performance after Blackburn. Yeah, actually, good point. Did you? What's your scoreline, Morgan? I'm going to go 2-0, and I'm going to go for Dom Solanke brace. 2-0 for him as well. Okay, Dom Solanke brace. He could do with that. We need all players getting really confident. And yeah, I'm going for a 2-0 as well. I just want to see an improved performance all round. Right, on Saturday, this returns. So yeah, that's right. The watch-along returns for the Coventry game, and the final 10. If we are going to get promoted, there are 10 games to go. So we're calling it the final 10. It's a bit presumptuous, but yeah, join us for that. Really can't wait. The free-for-all, of course, is at 5 p.m. straight after. Morgan, it's been a pleasure to see you in the flesh. Oh, 100%. Thanks, Sam. Just to say, if we are going to go up to the Premier League, are we coming down here for a party with a few beers? If it's allowed with social distancing. Yeah, I think we might have to. Yeah, 100%. But of course, and can I just reiterate for anyone being extra cautious with COVID, this is a social distance interview, 2 metres apart, just to clear that up for any confusion there, just because of the government have set out the rules for the correct reasons, and we all have to abide by them if we like them or not. Some of them might be up for an opinion, but that's up to them. And you're just about to play close contact football, aren't you? I don't understand the rules. Yeah, so I can't stand any further than 2 metres apart from Sam, but I can go and play contact football. Makes sense, hey?
Feels
Anyway,
right.
up the Cherries.
Cheers, Morgan, and thanks very much for watching. This has been a different kind of preview, but we are certainly looking forward to hopefully a Cherries win on Saturday. Up the Cherries.